What's good, everybody? Today I'm here to talk about my favorite matchup on UFC 329. Of course, I'm excited to see Conor McGregor, Max Holloway, Cody Garbrandt, Robert Whittaker, all these guys, Corey Sandhagen. I'm excited to see all of these guys. But the most interesting matchup for styles, the most interesting matchup for narratives, for the storylines, is this one right here. Paddy Pimblett versus Benoit Saint Denis. I am super interested in this matchup, and I do think this will be the end of the legendary Paddy Pimblett chin, alright? But to get into that, to get to know why I think BSD will finish Paddy Pimblett, we need to talk about this motherfucker, bro. The fact that I think Paddy will lose is not attributed to how good BSD is. He is good, don't get me wrong, and we will talk about him at the end. But it's mostly due to how bad Paddy Pimblett is. And yes, Paddy Pimblett does suck, especially on the feet. Almost every single fight I've seen him in, especially live, like the ones I've seen, the latest ones, it's been exposed so hard for the time he's on the feet. And he's very willing to be on the feet. This is not one of those guys that tries to stay out of range and tries to not engage until he can get a takedown, until he can get a clinch. This guy welcomes striking on the feet. And then if you get him into the takedown, if you go to the jiu-jitsu, he's like, okay, this is my element. He's a lot better in the jiu-jitsu realm than he is in striking. But it's by fucking miles, bro. This man on the feet, in every one of the fights I've seen, and we're going to talk about in a second, his chin is in the air. He swings hooks. He swings from the hips. Look at both of these photos. These are just two photos that were taken at a random point in the Jared Gordon and Justin Gaethje fights. Two fights I do believe he lost. Again, talk about that in a second. But these are just fights, and you will just see him in these exact positions in almost all of these fights. Swinging from the hip, hands all the way low, chin up. It's as if he's never been taught one day in his life to tuck his chin. He needs to see everything that's going on in 360 degrees panoramic view, alright? He has not that many tricks up his sleeve when it comes to the striking. I've never seen him throw anything other than a leg kick and then his crazy fucking hooks. He doesn't have a good jab. He doesn't have good combinations. They are just hooks from the hip, occasional leg kick. Just no nothing, bro. No nothing else except those two weapons. Leg kick and just straight hooks from the hip, right? That's what he's got on the feet. Now, again, another issue I have with Paddy Pimblett is that he has not improved his style. And this is my biggest issue that I've been constantly talking about in most of my videos. Every time I mention Paddy Pimblett, I talk about the reason I never pick this man to win his fights. No matter if he's against the withered Tony Ferguson, against Michael Chandler, if he's against fucking Jordan Levitt, I'll never pick him to win his fights because he's shown a complete inability and unwillingness to improve his style. This man has stayed the same from his first fight in the UFC, top left picture here. His first professional fight ever, right? Chin up in the air, hands low, swinging hooks from the hip. It's permissible. It's your first fight ever. It's scary. You're in an octagon for the first time. There's a grown man, with no pads who's trying to take your head off. He's going to kick you shin to shin. It's going to hurt. You're scared. All right. It happens, It's understandable. But then we get into the UFC. His first fight in the UFC, his UFC debut against like Luigi Vanderini or whatever the guy's name was, gets caught with one of the cleanest fucking, a left hook that I've ever seen. Why? Because his chin's up in the air. Because his hands are not covering his head in any capacity. Because he's walking forward completely square to the opponent. A huge target. And if this guy had a little head, on some Dustin Poirier P-head shit, maybe he'd get away with it. But this guy's head is fucking enormous. He has a cinder block for a cranium, right? He has a good chin, but the reason we say he has a good chin, just like Max Holloway, is because it's been tested so many times in his career. Bottom left picture against Jared Gordon. Look at that fucking right hand. There is no, the only good thing he's doing here is that he's squared to the opponent, but his chin, head, straight up. No need to do that, bro. Just tuck your chin a little bit. Tuck your chin a little bit. Swing your right hook from a little bit. Because what if there was a head kick here, right? What if Jared Gordon is standing, southpaw and just flicks up the left kick? Left head kick. What are you going to do? There's nothing protecting that. You're going to eat that on the chin. We've seen people do counter kicks, especially from close range, like Justin Gaethje. We've seen Justin Gaethje throw head kicks from the fucking pocket. You have to keep covering yourself at all times. Finally, he was exposed in the Justin Gaethje fight. And I was very excited, to see him finally lose. Because in my mind, I'm like, this guy needs to lose to improve, just to improve in general. If you fight the same way your whole career and you're always winning, you're never going to improve because, the deficiencies you have, you're like, oh, I guess they're not as bad as I thought because I'm winning all these fights, right? The issue with Paddy Pimblett, like all the other ones I've been saying, he has no willingness to improve his style. And the fact that the UFC is fully behind this man, they're backing this delusion. It's like when you have that friend that's just completely delusional about something. It's like, yeah, man, she fucks with me. Like, oh yeah, this girl looked at me twice in class today, bro. She wants me so bad. And you, being a good friend, when you should say like, yo, bro, I don't think that means she likes you. She was probably just looking in your direction. You say, nah, man, she wants you for real. Go talk to her. Like, this is what the UFC is doing with this man, because they're feeding him jobber after jobber after unk after unk after unk. Like, don't get me wrong, bro. Like, he's fought good names, but just not in their prime. He comes into the UFC, Jordan Levitt, all right? Random twerking UFC fighter. Fights, Luigi something, Jordan Levitt, and then fights Jared Gordon, which isn't the craziest fighter ever, right? I think he was on like a 5-fight win streak or a 4-fight win streak when he fought Paddy Pimblett. Or maybe a 3-fight, I don't know. He wasn't that crazy. Like, he's a normal level of competition, nowhere near the rankings. Like, he's a guy that you can give to one of these prospects, and he fucking robbed them, bro. Dead ass, robbed them. Like, I could see the argument for 3 rounds, 30-27 to Jared Gordon. It's one of the clearest robberies I've ever seen. And even you see Joe Rogan in the cage when they announced the fucking decision. He's like, whoa, that's a crazy decision. After that, fights 39-year-old Tony Ferguson on a 6-fight loss streak, right? Can't even finish him. Mind you, this guy got finished just a fight ago against Bobby Green or some shit. Got choked out. I don't know if it was a fight after. But Oliveira finished this guy. Fucking Bobby Green finished this guy. Michael Chandler finished this dude. Crazy. Can't finish him. 39-year-old Loki. Ferguson lands some good shit on Paddy Pimblett because, again, this guy keeps his chin up in the air at all times. Then fights 37-year-old Bobby Green, who slips into a fucking triangle. Like, all right. Or guillotine into a triangle. Whatever, right? 37-year-old, again, Unk. Fights a 38-year-old Michael Chandler that has not had a single win since 2022, who was against the withered Tony Ferguson, right? So that's a great name to have on your resume. And finally fights a 37-year-old Justin Gaethje for an interim belt that he does not deserve to fight for, right? That should have been Armin, should have been Oliveira, should have been whoever else, fucking Mateus Gamrot, fuck it, throw him in there. It was Paddy Pimblett fighting against Justin Gaethje, and he loses, right? To a 37-year-old. Mind you, he's 30 or 31, I don't know. He's a young dude. He's not faced good competition, and that has not helped the delusion. Mind you, the losses he has taken, he's made excuses for both of them. And yes, I count the Jared Gordon loss or the Jared Gordon win as a loss. When that fight happened, again, the only round you can basically kind of give Paddy Pimblett is the second round. And these, I watched the fight back like 2 times since it happened, and I completely agree with these scorecards. After the fight, he was in the media, right? They were asking him, hey, you know, what'd you think of the fight? A lot of people were saying it was close, whatever. He was like, it was not close, lad. The shit wasn't close. Like, he was just saying it wasn't close, making excuses, oh, you know, whatever, this and that. And then he goes to the Justin Gaethje fight, and he's talking some bullshit. To me, I win rounds 3 and 5. If he got a point taken like he should have after the eye poke, it's a draw. What are we talking about? What draw? What rounds 3 and 5? Bro got round 3 max. I give him 1 round, and that's round 3 max. All right? And again, talks about, I don't want to sound bitter, I don't want to cry over spilled milk, but I know how Jared Gordon felt. So that he admits that his last fight was a robber. If you watch the fight back and you realize you lost, why would you still not decide to make any improvements on yourself? Like, you've been given a second chance. The fucking MMA gods have come down from heaven to give you a second chance. You know, you've lost, but you got to win on your record, so technically you didn't lose. This is a perfect opportunity to improve upon everything you fucked up in that fight to make sure nothing like that ever happens again. But no, man. No, man, I won, so let's just not make any improvement whatsoever. And I know his bitch ass isn't going to make any improvements after the Justin Gaethje fight. I hope on Saturday night we see a completely changed Paddy Pimblett. But I just can't, I just can't believe it. Right? I just can't. I can't see it, man. He's going to come out there thinking in his mind that he should have drawn with Justin Gaethje and that his style is good and this isn't that. And he's going to get slimed once again. All right? Losing, I think, would be good for Paddy Pimblett. Like I've said, you need to lose to make your improvements, to realize you need to change, right? All the legends have lost, except like maybe John Jones, except for Khabib, right? Everyone else has lost. Just Ilia Topuria recently. We have to yet see how he comes back from that, right? But GSP got armbar by Matt Hughes, comes back, and I believe arm bars him back. Like, that's crazy. Again, Islam Makhachev got knocked out by Adriano Moraes or Big Pantoja, right? Comes back and becomes the best striker from Dagestan that we have in the UFC right now. One of the most well-rounded MMA fighters when before he used to be more of a Khabib clone, right? Really good wrestling, not so good on the feet, learns from his loss, comes back, and is better. DJ gets kneed, you know, wasn't too sure of the rules, get kneed by this fucking guy. No, this is Adriano Moraes, right? Gets kneed by Adriano Moraes, gets knocked out cold, right? Comes back, learns from his mistakes, knees his ass back. Just like GSP did to Matt Hughes. Like, these are guys that have lost, took it on the chin, right? And learned from their mistakes. Paddy Pimblett has shown zero adaptability to nothing. I hope Saturday night we see somebody, right? But I'm betting that we don't, and therefore BSD will finish Paddy Pimblett. I think the combination of BSD's pressure, his style, his good like defensive grappling, his good offensive grappling, I believe we're gonna see like a sort of against the fence TKO or a club up and sub him where BSD cracks Paddy Pimblett's chin late in the rounds and then submits him, maybe a rear naked choke, maybe Paddy Pimblett shoots a sloppy takedown, gets guillotined, maybe he goes out cold, whatever. My only thing is that with the recent pictures of BSD, it does look like he could have a certain staph infection on his foot. I'm super worried if we see BSD gas out in rounds fucking late round 2 or round 3, then we know why that happened, but I don't want to see that happen, man. I do think BSD will finish Paddy, and I think it will be good for him, man. I hope one day I can take Paddy Pimblett off of my list of unpickable fighters. Because I don't want to have unpickable fighters. I don't want to have fighters that I just despise watching them win. I want to be happy, bro. I want to be joyous. I want life to be sunshines and rainbows when I'm watching the UFC. So yeah, man, I do think BSD will finish Paddy. A combination of the cracked chin from the Justin fight, a combination of his pressure, Paddy Pimblett's unwillingness to learn. I'm a bit worried in the scrambles. Paddy Pimblett can, you know, snatch up a submission pretty easily. I do believe he's the second or third best jiu-jitsu guy at lightweight. I'd say Oliveira, second, could be Paddy, BSD, or Armin, right? So I think those guys, we're going to get to see tonight or Saturday night who's a better grappler between BSD and Paddy. But it's going to be a very interesting match. Thank you guys for watching. What do you guys think about this matchup? Who do you think wins? Do you think Paddy Pimblett takes it? Am I tripping thinking that Paddy Pimblett is not going to improve? Does he not need to improve in order to beat BSD, right? Is BSD that much of a step down from Justin Gaethje? Let me know down below. Thank you again for watching. I'm going to go drink some water. Ciao.